Got it.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back on Isabelle's talk show. Today is Monday, and I'm glad to invite today my first guest. Do you remember, Luisa? You were my first guest.
Yes.
And that was nearly 2 years ago. I can't believe it, that it has gone so fast. Well, having fun, time flies. So, Luisa, thank you again for being here today. And before you start on the topic, how to change the world, which is quite interesting and like a mystery, because I want to know how I can contribute to change the world. I'm going to introduce my guest. So Luisa Batista was born and raised in Amsterdam and now lives in Portugal together with her husband, 6 dogs and 2 cats. She's always been interested in people and in what makes them tick. In her 20s, she worked as a personal assistant to a medical doctor who specialized in treating people with drug addictions. And she read countless medical and psychological case studies, and it made her also aware of how most people who suffer from addiction have experienced childhood trauma. She has herself experienced several traumatic events in her life and suffered from anxiety, depression, and addiction. When she started attending yoga classes, she learned about the connection between body and mind. Yoga brought her so many physical and mental benefits. Wanting to know more about the background and philosophy of yoga, she became a yoga teacher herself. She's a vegan certified breathwork facilitator, holistic health coach, and yoga teacher. She believes a kinder, safer, and happier world starts with more compassion, happier, and healthier people. So she accompanies people who are vegan or want to become more vegan to find their way in a seemingly uncaring world. She helps them live a life filled with joy, freedom, and inner peace through a simple, practical, and effective coaching program of breathwork, movement, and other somatic modalities. So welcome back, Luisa, and tell us how we can change the world.
Well, I'll gladly do that. Thank you very much for the introduction. So yes, this is actually the 3rd time that I'm here. So my first time was your first time as well. And that first time I talked about embodiment. So how the way you are in your body actually influences your state of being, and vice versa. You know, the way you are influences the shape and actions of your body. And the second time, which is not that long ago, I talked about breath work, about the influence of breath also on your state of being, and also to let go of past trauma, and vice versa. Of course, your state of being that has influence on your breath. So this time, yes, I'd like to talk about how to save the world, how you, Isabelle, and me, and everyone watching and everyone who's not watching can save the world. So there are really some big problems going on in the world. War, like all over, hunger, world hunger, and climate change, which is the one that I'm actually focusing on. But all the other problems are related to us and to climate change. So let me share my screen because I want to have a little bit of a visual so that, my words, all the things I'm saying are a bit supported so you don't get lost, and I don't get lost, God forbid. Share to save the world. Here we go. So how to save the world and lead a happier and healthier life. Yes. And I was talking about climate change. This is a photo I found on Google. I just Googled all my photos for today's presentation. And like I mentioned earlier to Isabelle, which you haven't heard yet, this is a presentation that my 10-year-old niece could have made. It's just very basic, but it does the job, and I'm good at other stuff, not as much, as in designing a really lovely presentation. So here we go. So what's important about all these things that are happening is that we can feel like we don't have a lot of influence on what's happening. It's just happening, and we're powerless. We can feel powerless and out of control, at the mercy of others, big corporations, money, and governments. And I'd like to tell you, we do have power. So we go to the next screen. Power. What is power? So the definition of power is that you have the capacity to create, to direct, to influence, or do something to bring about what you want. That's what power. And we all have power in certain areas. Now, our power lies in the choices that we make. And like you said in the introduction, a happier and healthier world, that's what I believe. A healthier and happier world starts with healthier and happier people. Because we have to do it. We have to do it ourselves. So let's go to the next slide. Here we go. Self-care. That's how we can be happier and healthier. We have to take care of ourselves. So, because when your own cup, your cup is full, when you've taken care of yourself, you can share with other people. When your cup is empty, it's not as easy to share. You don't have anything to share. When you feel sad, it's really hard to, cheer someone else up. And when you're angry, it's really hard to be kind to other people. So something like that. So we have to take care of ourselves first. And I'd like to ask you, Isabelle, what do you think of when you think of self-care?
Well, food to start with, food, sleep, exercise, self-care, taking some time for myself, nature. Yeah, good ones. Yes, I think lots of people think about those things. Now, one of the most important things that you can do to take care of yourself is to listen to what's going on inside. Because, I can meditate every morning, do my yoga, have a cold shower afterwards, and have a bubble bath and a glass of wine on Friday evening. But I can still be a beep to my husband. Okay. And if you're perfectionistic, think you're not good enough, and then you indulge yourself with chocolate or, something else because you think you've deserved it, that's not really taking care of yourself, because it's just, a little Band-Aid until the next time that you need to blow off some steam or, have a treat because you feel not so good, stressed out. So, like I said, self-care has to really do first and foremost with listening to yourself, to what's going on inside. Yeah. Pause and listen.
Yeah, pause and listen. Listen to what you really need. So, like I said, that those first 2 times that I was on your talk show, I talked about how we can influence the way we feel and the way we act, and how we can influence our health physically and emotionally and mentally with embodiment. Embodiment as in, how do I feel and really embody who I am and what I am, and also through breath work. It creates an awareness of your state of being. And if you can influence your state of being, you will be happier and healthier physically and emotionally. And when we are happier and healthier, like I said, the way we are influences other people. So, going on to our exercise, I would like to do an exercise, a little exercise of mindfulness, and I'll go to the next slide immediately so you can see that. Practicing mindfulness will make you aware of how you are, but also who you are and who you want to be. So this is just, your basic exercise to notice how you are. So you can sit or stand up, and you can close your eyes or not. I always close my eyes because it makes it much easier for me to really go inside and feel what's going on. So if you're standing, or maybe you can't stand and can't sit, you can lie down. Notice, first of all, the points of contact between your body and the floor or the seat or the bed, whatever surface you're on. And breathing your natural breath, just normal rhythm as it is right now. Notice what's going on. Any sensations that you are feeling on the outside, on the surface of your skin, on the outside of your body, but also on the inside. Sensations. So sensations like an itch, warm or cold temperature. Trembling, space or tension. Really tune in to the inside. How are you? What are you feeling? And also if any emotions are present. So, you could be bored, or feeling content. Any emotions and the feelings that belong with those emotions, maybe. Also notice your breath. Where is your breath and what is the quality of your breath? Without making any judgments, just noticing. As for some people, this may be a very uncomfortable exercise, actually. It can make you anxious or, like I said, uncomfortable. And if that's the case, come back to those points of contact. So the soles of your feet on the floor, or your hips on the seat, your back against the chair. Okay, and then slowly open your eyes again. So what we did was noticing how we are in the moment. And that's what mindfulness is. It's bringing attention to the experience you're having in the present moment. And that's a skill that you can develop, so that you're, you don't necessarily have to sit and close your eyes and really tune in. It can be such a skill that even when you're, doing grocery shopping or driving the car or whatever, you can tune in, or in a situation where you're at with people, you can, notice how you are and maybe adjust your breath, for example, to calm down a little bit, or adjust your posture to be a little bit more in the moment, present, more secure of yourself. So like I said, here on the screen as well, practicing mindfulness will make you aware of how you are and who you are. And what happens
it's like working on the emotions, or at least identifying the emotions, why we are sad, why we are angry, and even sometimes just say, hey, that's great, today I feel energized, and why, and being in that moment, and even trying to remember what it feels like, so
yes.
we can use that in the future. So
yes, it's also important to not just do these kinds of exercises when you're not feeling very happy. It's also good to do it when you are feeling great, because you'll feel the difference between the feeling not so great and feeling great. And the why you're feeling a certain way is not really important in this mindfulness. It's just, how am I? How, letting that feeling dissipate, and almost always you'll feel more relaxed afterwards. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But awareness, when you're aware of how you are and who you are and who you want to be, this creates choice. Awareness creates choice. How you want to be and who you want to be, and the ability, that ability to choose is really empowering. You can choose. You can choose how you are. And if you're wishing, you know, some people say, oh, I wish I had more discipline, or I wish I was more like so-and-so because they are always so kind and so relaxed, or, you know, any characteristic that you feel envious of within other people, you can choose to be that person. I'm not saying it's easy, though.
Yeah, changing habits is not difficult, but it's really worth it.
Exactly. Changing habits, that's what we're going to talk about next. So having that ability to choose is empowering. I'm just going to go back to that choice. So you're aware what's going on in you, in yourself, in your body, and you can choose to be different and to be differently, you know, the state of being. You can choose that to be different as well. The thing about mindfulness, though, because, you know, you feel nice and relaxed afterwards, mostly, it reduces stress, so it makes us feel better, which is good. It's nice. But if you then continue as usual, you know, working hard, not thinking, you know, about anything really, not really being present when other people are talking, you're doing 3 things at the same time, always running, I don't know, you know what I mean, then it's just a little band-aid. Like I said earlier, it's just, you know, for now, in that moment, yes, you feel better. And then, you know, until the next time that you're stressed out and you need to do a little exercise to catch your breath again and ground. So next slide is change. Yes, it's crucial. That is crucial. Thinking of how am I? Who am I? And how do I want to be? And who do I want to be? And for that, you have to change, and change can be hard. Yeah. Change brings resistance in people, especially when other people, you know, give that to them, like, you need to change this or that, because, you know, and they give you all kinds of reasons. And you may even agree with them. But if you don't really think of it yourself, don't really feel it yourself, don't really have the courage to do it, maybe, then you won't change. And you certainly can't change anyone else.
No.
So it's crucial.
They will change if you change. If you
Yes.
change yourself, it will have an impact on your environment, on the people, your relationships, but you have to change first.
Exactly. All you can change is your own attitude, your own behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's so important to first take care of yourself and see, what do I need? What do I want? What do I think is important? And that's what we're going to go to next. What is really important to you? Okay. So like I said, we humans, we don't like change, it creates resistance. And that's because change means letting go of things, letting go. We have to let go of certain beliefs and ideas and habits and routines and, substitute them with something else. Replace them. That was the word I wrote down here in my notes. Thank you. Okay. And I think if we really want to save the world, we have to make different and better choices. And that can be not so easy. I know, because I've been making choices in the last 10 years or so that have been, quite challenging at times. All right. Now, to know all of this, like I said, how to change, what to change, you first need to know what's important to you. And those are your values. And these are my values here on the screen that you see. Happiness and health are on the top, but they don't really need to be in this order necessarily, although I think happiness is the first one always for me, and health is the second. I like to be healthy. I think I'm happier when I'm healthier, but I think I can also be happy when I'm not so healthy. That would depend, of course. And it wouldn't be all deciding, let's put it that way. So there are a couple of values here. Empathy, money, I need money. I think money is important. Otherwise, I'll probably starve. Connection with other people is important. Safety, I want to be safe. I don't want to feel like I'm in danger. Integrity, I think it's really important to take decisions, to make choices with integrity. Education, so learning, I'm always learning. I like learning. I'm actually a little bit obsessed sometimes. When there's a subject that I find interesting, I go, I want to know all about it. Humor, I hope you like my humor. I don't know. Family, my family is important. Yes, the people near to me, family and friends. And freedom, I like freedom. I like freedom to do what I like within boundaries, of course. I mean, you can't always do everything that you want and like. Now, knowing your values and living according to those values makes us happier.
Yes.
Yes.
And not, I would say, betray ourselves, applying values coming from other people.
Exactly. Yeah. When we want to please other people, we tend to, not look at our own values and our own boundaries, but do what the other person want.
We're not aligned. We're not aligned with our values. So
yeah, and that will eventually wreak havoc, as they say. Yeah. So, like I said, living according to our values, that determines the choices that you make. Because, if I want to be healthy, I am not going to have a glass of wine at 7 o'clock in the morning and then drink the rest of the day and not eat and, not exercise, or maybe lie in bed all day and eat crisps. That's, in my mind, not very healthy. So, those are choices, of course, that I make. And how we see and think about things determines all the choices that we make. So our values, how we think and how we see things. Now, living according to your values, like I said, you need to make choices. And sometimes the best choice or the better choice is not necessarily the easiest one.
Usually it's not.
Very often, yeah. Maybe, I don't know how much percent of the time. It also really depends on your habits and what you're used to. But yeah, it can be that you have to make a choice and it's not the easiest one. Like when I need money, okay, I will have to do maybe find a job that I don't really like, but if I can't find something else, I will have to do that. Or maybe I'm creative and I can think of something else to do. Health. Maybe I do want a bag of crisps when I wake up in the morning. But those are just small choices. Those are not very important. But you know what I mean. Okay. Now, when making choices, there's always what we have to consider is worth. What is it worth to us?
I actually encourage my clients to make a list of why they want to be healthy, why they want to be happier, why they want to feel safer. And because when sometimes they get demotivated, at least they can go back to the list and just say, hey, I know why I wanted to start that project, or to start being healthy, or feeling safe. And then it will help them to get back on track.
Yeah, like exercising,
Oh, yes, I know.
I think 90% of the time I don't feel like exercising, but I do it. And then afterwards I feel great. And that's one of those benefits that you need to think of. Not like, oh God, I don't feel like it. It's very easy to talk yourself out of it. But think of the benefit, and that will help you to make that better choice. Okay, so now we come to saving the world, climate change. So what is it worth to us to save the world? What is it worth to save the world from the destruction that comes with climate change? You don't have to answer me, Isabelle. This is like a question for everyone that you can really think about, because it's not an easy thing to think about, to decide. It really is a huge problem, and it's a very pressing problem. And I think a lot of people still aren't aware of that, are still unaware of that. So researchers have concluded that shifting away from animal products, like dairy, is the single most effective way to stop climate change, to stop the destruction of our world. Yeah. So, in other words, the single most important thing that we can do to save the world is to adopt a plant-based diet, or become a full-fledged vegan. But I'm not talking about veganism. I'm really just talking about going towards plant-based eating. And again, research has shown the environmental impact of cutting down the consumption of animal products is bigger, much, much bigger than cutting down on flying towards some vacation or buying an electric car. Okay.
And I suppose it's better for your health anyway. So.
Yeah, well, that's my next. Thank you.
All right, jumping the presentation.
This diet here, yes. This is also backed by research. When you look up the China study online and read about that, there's a book as well about the China study. You'll get all the details of this research. It's been going on for 25 years or so. I'm not sure. Anyway, eating plant-based foods decreases the risk and prevalence of all kinds of diseases, and it even reverses diseases like diabetes and heart disease. So the next thing is, and that's where one of my other values comes into play, compassion and empathy. By eating plant-based foods, we aren't contributing to the suffering and killing of animals. Okay. So think about it. Think about your values. And there's another really, really, enormous benefit to grow more than enough food for all people instead of animals. We also need far less land than we're using now. We humans. So not only would we be able to end world hunger, because all the crops that are now being raised for cattle would be raised and go towards the people who need it. And the land could also be restored, and biodiversity would be restored. Sorry. So here's my next slide. You can see on the screen. So it's the environment, your health, animal welfare, biodiversity, and world hunger. Those are all affected by us making different choices, different food choices in this case. Next slide is healthy people. Again, happy and healthy people make for a happy and healthy world. And I don't just believe that. I know that deep in my soul. By making sure that we are happy and healthy, by taking care of ourselves, by becoming aware who and how we are, by knowing what we think is important, by living by those values and making better choices, we'll make our world a better and safer and happier and healthier place. Yeah. And the last slide, well, the penultimate. 3 quotes. Now, the one at the bottom by Mahatma Gandhi, I think almost everyone knows that one. You must be the change you want to see in the world. In Dutch, we have an expression. I don't know if they have it in other countries. I don't know. In Dutch, we say, verander de wereld or verbeter de wereld, begin bij jezelf. And that means make the world better, start with yourself. Mm-hmm. The one above that is by Marie Curie. Mm-hmm. You cannot build a better world without improving the individuals. And I like to think that there's another word that comes behind that, first. So you cannot build a better world without improving the individuals first. And then the one on top, and that one is by a monk, a Buddhist monk, who's written a couple of books. And I bought his book last week, and it's called Zen and the Art of Saving the World. And he says, we need to change our way of being and the way we interact with the world. So I say, we have the power to change and save the world. The only thing is, we've only got a couple of years to do it. Yeah, it's really, destruction is imminent. Yeah, and that's it. So if you want to know more about me,
knowing more about
all kinds of stuff, you can contact me directly through my website. There's a contact form that you can just fill in and put all your questions, remarks, doubts, whatever in there. So I'll stop sharing. There we go.
Luisa, thank you very much. So just to wrap it up, self-care, mindfulness, choice, change, and obviously according to your values, work to your values, and what else? I can't remember the last one.
That was it. Self-care, values, and choice.
Yes. Okay, and change, and obviously changing oneself first, and then it's like planting the seed, really. You change yourself, and then it's like planting the seed, and everybody changes around. So making awareness and changing the way as well we eat, the way we behave as well, and so the other individuals in the world will change. So
yeah, hopefully.
That's great. So yes, audience, if you have any questions, you've got now Luisa's contact, and I've put it as well in the description of this Facebook Live. So thank you ever so much, Luisa. And I know in your values you put humor, which is great, because actually my next guest, next week, will be Lauren Tutner, and she will tell us how to bring more joy and laughter into our life. So we're going to talk about humor as well. And obviously, if you have missed the previous talk shows, look for my YouTube channel, Phoenix Coaching and Training, click on notification and that little bell, and you will be able to see the previous ones, and as well the new talk shows I will upload every week. So thank you ever so much, Luisa.
Thank you. Good luck with your talk show. And
oh yes, it was nice. Okay, so now you've got the tips to change the world. So audience, see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.